New intro. So much love and appreciation to those of you who have been with me for the 2 year period plus that I've been doing this. Thank you for showing your love and support to the channel. And to anybody else who is brand new to the platform and you would like to support the channel, also, you can do it by way of Patreon, Anchor, the clothing store, and also the shoe shop that is listed in the comment description below. And again, thank you to any and all of you guys who have been here to support this channel during the 2+ year period. I wouldn't be able to do what I do every single day without you. The police officer who shot and killed a student in a Tennessee high school will not face criminal charges. Knox County District Attorney General Charm Allen stated that she determined the shooting of 17-year-old Anthony J. Thompson Jr. by Knoxville police officer Jonathan Calbaut was justifiable under Tennessee's self-defense law. Allen also stated that she wouldn't press any other charges against the 3 other officers present at the time of April 12th shooting at Austin East Magnet High School in East Tennessee City. According to the video, 4 officers responded to a school after a domestic abuse call from the mother of Thompson's former girlfriend. The officer went into the bathroom where they believed Thompson was, but Allen's office stated that the officer did not know that Thompson was carrying a handgun. The next steps occurred in less than 15 seconds. The video shows the officers locating and then attempting to handcuff Thompson. One officer grabbed Thompson's right arm, but Thompson's left arm was in his sweatshirt pocket where the video shows he was holding a gun. The barrel of the weapon could be seen peeking through the pocket. Thompson's weapon went off, hitting a trash can, but not any of the officers. The shots confused the officers into thinking that their lives were in danger and one of them was potentially injured. Allen said, pointing to various statements that they later gave investigators. Calborough can be seen removing his weapon and shooting Thompson in the shoulder. Calborough fired his weapon again as Thompson fell to the ground with the officers surrounding him. Calborough's second shot accidentally hit police officer Adam Wilson in the leg. A separate unnamed student was in the bathroom stall. The body camera footage shows an officer handcuffed that student, who could be heard screaming for officers to tend to Thompson's injuries because he could see blood coming from Thompson's body. Allen said that officers did not know that Thompson had been shot until 2 minutes later after handcuffing him and turning his body over. That's when they saw large amounts of blood and called for the school nurse for medical assistance. The medical examiner report showed that because of the way Calborough shot Thompson, there was nothing the officer or the school nurse could have done in order to save his life. Knoxville Police Chief Eve Thomas said in a statement that she was thankful the investigation determined that her officers' actions were justified and cleared of any wrongdoing. Newly released video clarifies what transpired in the bathroom after conflicting accounts between the Tennessee Bureau of Investigations. In a news conference shortly after the shooting, TBI Director David Rosh stated that Thompson had fired shots as officers entered the bathroom, striking an officer. 2 days later, the TBI changed its statement, saying that the student's gun was fired during a struggle with school resource officer Adam Wilson, who was wounded. The TBI's second statement stated that the officer was not shot with Thompson's gun.
Just wanted to definitely send my condolences to the family. We're all looking for justice in this situation, and to know, what information that they have that they're withholding. As far as the events go before this incident took place, I do apologize to the family. There was an altercation, and I did make a police report. They did, come down here to make an arrest with for domestic assault on my daughter. Um, she wasn't even willing to cooperate, but as a mother, I was just tired, and I just I wanted them to take a break, but I never meant for anything to happen to him. And, we deal with our own grief. My kids miss him, you know. I never meant for any of this to happen. So I'm sorry. And hopefully we get justice in this case with Anthony. He was definitely a good kid, um, and had a bright future, man, ahead of him. He had dreams. I just, at the time, I felt like both of the kids needed a break. They needed some counseling. They were both dealing with issues mentally that, They could have used some help in those areas. A lot of times mental abuse, it's like it gets ignored. We're screaming for help for these kids. We're looking for these schools to help us to protect them, where I feel like they failed to do so. They didn't protect my child against the altercations that kept taking place at Austin East. They didn't protect Anthony. I mean, this is a complete and total tragedy, and we're all suffering as a community because we've lost so many children. I feel like if, after the first suspension happened or the first altercation happened on the school property, that had they have intervened or, done a little bit more to help keep them apart. Although it's not their job, I understand that. But when there's a situation with safety, I feel like they should definitely have took it more serious.
Right. I think that's good.
One more from your perspective. What was their relationship like?
They were fun together. I mean, they really enjoyed it and had a good time. I feel like they may have had, a couple of issues, and my daughter said that they were petty arguments, that she wished she could take back. And she still calls him. She loves him. And all she wanted to do was help. She just wanted him to get help. She normalized the relationship a lot, and just because of the abuse that she's witnessed. And, that I take responsibility for and feel awful for. And that's more of the reason why I felt like I had to stand up for her, because she wasn't going to do it for herself. And I regret making that call now. I wish we could have dealt with it differently.
So this is what's going to take place. The greater majority, probably about like 95% of people out there, are going to feel that, okay, yeah, it was justifiable. He had a gun. He shouldn't have had a gun. He was in school with it. He shouldn't have been in school with it. And the police did the right thing. They're not going to focus on the fact that the police decided to fire a gun, knowing the fact that they themselves were not directly being shot at, because nowhere in the story or the article did it state that this young man had the gun and he was actively pointing it directly at officers trying to select which one he was going to go for. It was stated that it was a clear-cut mistake, that the gun had went off more than likely because of a drop or whatever took place inside of that bathroom. People are not going to also pay very close attention to the fact that the cops not only shot once and didn't know what they were shooting at, but then also shot a second time, which ended up actually harming a fellow officer. And then on top of shooting that weapon inside of a school, inside of a confined space, which is a bathroom, you also have the added fact that there was a student that was there the whole time. And both of those bullets that was fired from that officer's gun could have very potentially took not just his life, but could have potentially took the life of that other student. And they're also not going to pay attention to the fact that the student was the only one crying for help, literally telling them like, yo, you have to do something in order to stop the bleeding. Like, he's bleeding profusely. You have to do something about this. What did they do? They put that teen in handcuffs. They didn't immediately see to him and to see if he was okay. They made sure to put that teen, who was a witness, in handcuffs. And then after handcuffing him, they then turned his body over and then found out what took place. But these are yet again the same cops who didn't even realize that he was shot. So you have to question and ask, if you didn't think that he was shot, where did you think the bullet was going when it came directly from your gun? So then we have the next part, which is the mother of Anthony's ex-girlfriend. And she said that she called the police initially, right? And she was trying to state that she didn't say that he was armed. How do we know that? We're not able to hear the phone call at all. We're not able to hear the 911 at this point in time. So you could literally be telling or saying anything in front of these cameras at this moment in time. And then you said that you did it because, enough is enough, and because you in a sense wanted better for your daughter. You wanted them to, take a break, and then you wanted to list that you were so sorry that his life was lost. And mind you, that when she was talking, that was a small little biracial child that was walking around. So I'm almost wondering who is the father of that child. It's either the mom, right? Or the daughter. Like I said, I'm not sure. I just know that little child is with her. Because at a certain point in the video, you hear the child say, "Mom, mom, mama," right? So, like I said, that child is not there with anybody else. That child is there with her. And this is the same exact person who called the police on a young black man. And you said that you wanted to do it because of a domestic violence disturbance. And you see exactly how police responded. You're a Caucasian woman. You're talking about a Caucasian female teen. And you're talking about a black teen who you said was abusing your daughter and doing all of these other things. And then you got the nerve to say that you're sorry. You want to give your condolences. You're the cause of this. If the police would have never received the call or shown up, that young man would still be alive to this day. But this is when other people will come in and they will say like, "Oh well, yeah, if he was alive, but who's to say that he wouldn't have took somebody's life with that gun?" I'm not saying what happened is right, but the police could have potentially very easily just saved the life. That's where they'll try to yet again agree with the cops and agree with the DA in the stance of that the shooting was justified. Like I said before, there was nothing to me that automatically gives this justification. It doesn't. Because I've seen too many times where you've had suspects who are Caucasian have weapons directly on them, police know it, and they still give them the benefit of the doubt. And they still opt to use other measures to restrain somebody versus going directly to lethal force. Like I said, this kid, he never even had a chance, and they were like 4 officers deep. It was only one of him. Like I said, the way that they're explaining things, it's very easy to, go about it that way when it's not one of yours. When it's not your child, when it's not somebody that you, um, see in a community, or that reminds you of a friend that you had, or even potentially reminds you of yourself. It's very easy to have that disconnect and to, um, talk about a situation from that type of viewpoint, because it realistically, it doesn't mean anything to you. The DA said that it was, a pretty tough decision. No, it's not. They stated in an article that the DA had umpteen other times. Let me just go back to the bottom for you guys. They stated that, however, Allen, who has never pressed charges against an officer in nearly the dozen police shooting cases she's investigated, was forced to hand over the footage Wednesday when a judge agreed with city officials and media outlets that the tapes should be released. Quote, "My preference would be not to do this today, but I'm under pressure from you, the media, from politicians and activist groups. I get it. You should be able to see the video. I just think the timing. We have to come up with a better process." So, like I said before, it's very easy for somebody who continuously goes over these police issues, these stories, to realistically not care, because it's not, in a sense, a part of the reflective majority. And also because you pretty much side with the cops and probably have law enforcement, within your family, and different things of that nature. Like I said before, this is a person who has, I guess, had to oversee, or who has, in a sense, had insight to a lot of, um, I guess you could say, police shootings or other activities that are negative that police have taken a part of. And, it seems that she didn't prosecute any of them, that they were all just justified. Like I said before, and we're going to say it again. The main reason that this young man is dead is, in a sense, almost not because of the police, right? Because the police were, in a sense, doing what they normally do. Of course, they're out there to kill, but they were responding to a call, and that call came in by way of this young man's ex-girlfriend's mother, who called the police on him. If she would have never called the police that day, we wouldn't even be having this conversation. We wouldn't be. So yet again, to a lot of the parents out here, let this be a teaching lesson to your kids, to your young black men, that at any point in time, if they just so happen to choose to date anybody else, and those people might not agree with it, or a variety of other things, let them know that very easily, as they are alive, that their lives can be taken just because of one call. Just remind them of that. Like I said, this is a tragedy. And I automatically feel that it's disrespectful that, in a sense, she's even talking at this point in time. Because a lot of this has to do with her. If the call was never made, the police would have never have shown up, and he would have went home and went to sleep. Like I said, nobody knows the reason that he had to have any type of weapon on him. I'm not agreeing with that. I'm not condoning that at all. But what I do know is that when kids are going under threats, when kids are going under bullying, when kids are getting beat up at school, when a variety of things is taking place and the school isn't doing anything about it and parents aren't doing anything about it, you will have kids go to a last resort in order to protect themselves. Because remember, nowhere in any of the articles that I've seen did it mention that this young man was even in a gang. So nobody can even go there. So like I said, I'm going by the things that I've seen transpire when I was in school. Where kids were getting picked on. Where kids were having issues. Where kids were having threats. Where kids might have to potentially get jumped. Like I said, I am not condoning the actions of teenagers having firearms. I'm not, but I'm saying I understand. Like I said, I wish that he was alive to tell his story, to tell his side, but can't nobody, tell his side. Can't nobody tell his story. The mom wanted to, get on here and say that, oh, he was a great guy, he had a lot of dreams and aspirations. He was a good kid. Obviously not, by the way that you were just talking about him. You said that he was doing a variety of negative things to your daughter. You didn't list one thing positive up until after the fact of he's basically gone. And by way of your voice, being on the phone, getting into contact with police and letting them know his name and where he is at this moment in time and what he did to your daughter. So don't sit up here and try to make it seem like you loved and cared about him when you just literally said that he didn't do anything positive for your daughter. You said he was toxic. You said the relationship was toxic. You said everything that he was doing was basically negative and it was affecting your daughter, and that enough was enough. But then you got the nerve in the same breath talking out of the side of your neck saying that, oh yeah, he was a good kid. He was great. I love him. I bet you do. You love him when he's dead and gone. You care about him when he's dead and gone. You want to speak positively about this young man when he's dead and gone. I wonder how many times did you speak positivity and breathe that into that young man's life before you got it taken? like I said, I guess that's something that we'll never know because only one side can tell that story. But anyways, let me know what you guys think about this video and everything that I stated and listed in the comment description below. And as always, peace, love, and stay tuned for the next video.